There was a day when heaven heard the cry of an oppressed people.
Don't touch me.
In the midst of the greatness of Egypt, where the pharaohs believed themselves to be gods.
Insolent! How dare you challenge my authority?
A child was born, destined to challenge the empire.
Let my people go so they may worship me in the desert.
It was not with swords, nor with armies, but with the power of the living God. That a man named Moses would rise up to part seas, humble kings, and change the course of history forever.
I will absolutely not let the people of Israel go.
Israel had come to Egypt as a small group in the time of Joseph. There they were received with honor and prosperity, for Joseph had saved the empire from famine. But as the years passed, a Pharaoh arose who did not know Joseph. And with him came fear, envy, and oppression. The new king watched as the Hebrews multiplied rapidly in the land of Goshen. What was a blessing for the people was a threat to him.
We must reduce them to slavery. I fear that one day they will join our enemies.
From then on, the Egyptian overseers forced them to build cities like Pithom and Ramesses, under whips and unbearable workdays. But the more they were oppressed, the more they multiplied. Neither the weight of the bricks, nor the chains, nor the scorching sun could stop God's promise. Filled with fury, Pharaoh then decided to attack the very future of Israel. He ordered the Hebrew midwives Shiphrah and Puah to kill every male child that was born. They, however, feared God more than the king and saved the children. When Pharaoh confronted them, they answered cleverly. The Hebrew women are strong, and before we arrived they have already given birth. God honored their courage, and the people continued to grow. Then the king hardened his heart even more. He issued a decree that shook all of Israel.
All the Hebrew boys who are born shall be thrown into the Nile. Let not a single one remain!
The Nile, a symbol of life for Egypt, became a river of death for the Hebrews. The mothers hid their children in the darkness. The parents lifted up prayers through tears, and the cries of the people rose to heaven. In the midst of slavery, faith remained alive. They believed that the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob had not forgotten them. And while Egypt sought to destroy them, heaven was already preparing the birth of a deliverer. In the midst of Pharaoh's cruel order to throw every Hebrew boy into the Nile, a family from the tribe of Levi brought a baby boy into the world. The mother, seeing him beautiful and full of life, decided to hide him. For 3 months, she hid him in silence until she could do so no longer. So she prepared a small basket made of reeds, coated it with tar to keep the water out, and placed the little one in the middle of the river, entrusting him to God. The boy's older sister, named Miriam, followed the basket from the riverbank. The future seemed uncertain, but the hand of God was guiding the waters. It was then that Pharaoh's daughter came down to the river to bathe. She saw the basket among the reeds, opened it, and the baby's cries moved her heart. "This is one of the Hebrew children," she said. The king's plan to destroy Israel had been overcome by the compassion of his own daughter. Miriam, brave, approached and said, "Do you want me to find a Hebrew nurse to raise him for you?" The princess agreed, and thus the child's mother was able to nurse and care for him under the protection of the palace. When the boy grew up, he was adopted as the son of Pharaoh's daughter, and she named him Moses, saying, "Because I drew him out of the water." Raised among the treasures of Egypt, Moses was instructed in all the wisdom of the Egyptians. But in his heart the identity of his people burned brightly. As an adult, he saw the oppression of his brothers and could not hold himself back. When he saw an Egyptian beating a Hebrew, he killed him and hid him in the sand. The next day, he tried to intervene between 2 Hebrews who were fighting, but one of them replied to him,
Who made you ruler and judge over us?
"Are you thinking of killing me as you did the Egyptian?" Fear took hold of Moses. The deed had been discovered, and when Pharaoh found out, he tried to kill him. Moses fled from Egypt and took refuge in the land of Midian. There by a well he defended some young shepherdesses who were being harassed by shepherds. Jethro, the priest of Midian, grateful, welcomed him into his home and gave him his daughter Zipporah as a wife. Moses became a shepherd, and in the solitude of the desert he learned patience, humility, and dependence on God. It was there that his children were born, and for years he tended sheep in arid lands. Meanwhile in Egypt, the cries of the children of Israel grew louder under slavery.
O Lord, how long must this go on? Have mercy on us. Deliver us from this misery.
The Pharaoh had died, but the oppression continued. The people groaned, and their cry reached God. The covenant made with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob had not been forgotten. In the silence of the desert, while Moses tended flocks, God was preparing the moment to raise him up as a deliverer. Moses was tending the sheep of Jethro, his father-in-law, in the solitude of the desert. Day after day, he wandered over arid hills, until one day he came to the mountain of God, Horeb. There, in the midst of the silence, he saw a vision that stopped him in his tracks. A bush was burning with fire, but it was not consumed. Astonished, he said to himself, "I will go and see this great sight. Why is the bush not burning up?" As he approached, a voice called to him from the midst of the fire. "Moses, Moses!" He answered, trembling, "Here I am." And the voice added, "Do not come any closer. Take off your sandals, for the place where you are standing is holy ground. I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob." Moses covered his face, afraid to look at God. Then the Lord spoke to him with power. "I have seen the affliction of my people who are in Egypt. I have heard their cry, and I have come down to deliver them and bring them out of that land to a good land, a land flowing with milk and honey. Therefore, come now, and I will send you to Pharaoh so that you may bring my people out of Egypt." Moses' heart was troubled. That solitary shepherd could not conceive of such a mission. "Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the children of Israel out of Egypt?" he asked. And God answered him, "Go, for I will be with you." Still afraid, Moses said, "When they ask me what is his name, what shall I tell them?" God answered with eternal words, "I am who I am. Thus you shall say to the children of Israel, I am, has sent me to you." The Lord also gave him a promise. The elders of Israel would listen to him, and even if Pharaoh resisted, with a mighty hand, God would strike Egypt until he let his people go. Moses listened, but his insecurity overwhelmed him. He doubted himself, afraid that Israel would not believe him. Then God gave him signs to demonstrate his power. "What is that you have in your hand?" The Lord asked, "A staff?" Moses replied, "Throw it on the ground." The staff fell and turned into a serpent. Moses stepped back in fear, but God commanded him to grab it by the tail. When he did, it became a staff again in his hand. Then the Lord said to him, "Put your hand inside your cloak." Moses disobeyed, and when he took it out, it was leprous, white as snow. When he put it back in, it came out healthy like the rest of his flesh. Finally, God declared, "If they do not believe these signs, you will take water from the river, and it will turn to blood on the ground." The evidence was clear, but Moses still doubted. "O Lord, I am not a man of eloquent speech. I am slow of tongue." The Lord replied with authority, "Who gave man his mouth? Who makes him mute or able to see? Is it not I, the Lord? Now go, and I will be with your mouth." Even so, Moses pleaded, "Lord, send someone else." Then God's anger was kindled, but in mercy he granted Aaron, his brother, to be his spokesman. Aaron would speak, but Moses would be the chosen instrument. The desert had forged Moses in humility, but now the voice of the Eternal was raising him up as a liberator. The bush burned without being consumed, as a symbol of God's people, who, though tested in the fire of oppression, would not be destroyed. The encounter ended, and Moses descended from the mountain bearing the weight of a mission that would change history. Return to Egypt, challenge Pharaoh, and free Israel by the power of the great I Am. Finally convinced, Moses asked Jethro for permission to return to Egypt.
The road will be arduous, but faith will guide us.
Your words are wise, old man. So be it.
He took his wife Zipporah and his son and set out on his journey riding a donkey. The staff of God was in his hand. On the way, Jehovah spoke to him again. When you return to Egypt, you will perform before Pharaoh all the wonders I have put in your hand. But I will harden his heart so that he will not let the people go. And you shall say, Thus says Jehovah, Israel is my son, my firstborn. Let my son go so that he may serve me. That night a mysterious event occurred. Jehovah confronted Moses to kill him because he had not yet circumcised his son, the sign of the covenant with Abram. Then Zipporah, acting decisively, took a flint knife, circumcised the boy, and touched Moses' feet with the foreskin, saying, Truly, you are a husband of blood to me. Circumcision was the sign of the covenant that God made with Abram. Every male child had to be circumcised on the 8th day after birth, as a visible reminder that they belonged to God's people. So Jehovah let him go, and the mission could continue. God had also prepared Aaron. He sent him into the desert to meet Moses. The two brothers embraced and shared the divine plan. Together they returned to Egypt and gathered the elders of Israel. Aaron spoke all the words that Jehovah had said, and Moses showed the signs. The people believed, and bowing down, they worshipped, because they understood that God had visited his people and had seen their affliction. The time of deliverance had begun. Moses and Aaron entered the palace of Egypt with a solemn message. Jehovah, the God of Israel, says this, Let my people go so that they may hold a feast for me in the wilderness. Pharaoh, seated on his throne surrounded by idols and gods, looked at them with contempt. Who is Jehovah that I should obey his voice and let Israel go? I do not know Jehovah, nor will I let Israel go. The brothers insisted. The God of the Hebrews has met with us. We beg you to let us go a 3-day journey into the wilderness to offer sacrifices to Jehovah our God, so that he does not come upon us with pestilence or with the sword. But Pharaoh became enraged. Why are you distracting the people from their work? Go back to your burdens. That same day he ordered the overseers, You shall no longer give straw to the people to make bricks, as before. Let them gather the straw themselves, but you will still require from them the same number of bricks. It shall not be reduced. They are idle, and that's why they cry out, saying, Let us go and offer sacrifices to our God. The command fell upon Israel like an unbearable burden. The men worked under the sun. They searched for straw in the fields and still had to meet the same brick quota. The Egyptian overseers beat them, and the Hebrew officials were whipped because the people could not meet the imposed quotas. Please, Pharaoh, our people are suffering. The elders cried out to Pharaoh, pleading for mercy. You are lazy, that's why you say, Let us go and offer sacrifices. Now, get to work. You will not be given straw, but you must deliver the same number of bricks. The people left the palace humiliated and desperate. And when they met Moses and Aaron, they confronted them bitterly. May the Lord look upon you and judge you, because you have made us abhorrent in the eyes of Pharaoh and his servants, and you have put a sword in their hand to kill us. Moses, broken by the words of his own people, turned his face to God and cried out, Lord, why do you afflict this people? Why did you send me? Since I came to Pharaoh to speak in your name, he has done evil to this people, and you have not delivered your people. It seemed that the mission had failed before it even began. The weight of slavery was heavier than ever. The people's hope was fading, and even Moses doubted. But behind the darkness, God was preparing the greatest demonstration of his power. The struggle between the throne of Egypt and the eternal God was just beginning. Moses was downcast. The people rejected him. Pharaoh had hardened his heart, and slavery had become more powerful, heavier than ever. In the midst of his discouragement, Jehovah spoke to him with firmness and power. Now you will see what I will do to Pharaoh. With a mighty hand he will let them go, and with a powerful hand he will drive them out of his land. God revealed himself with an eternal name. I am Jehovah. I appeared to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob as God Almighty. But by my name Jehovah I was not known to them. I established my covenant with them to give them the land of Canaan, the land in which they were strangers. And he added with a voice of promise, I have heard the groaning of the children of Israel. Therefore say to them, I am Jehovah, and I will bring you out from under the burdens of Egypt. I will deliver you from their bondage. I will redeem you with an outstretched arm and with great judgments. I will take you as my people, and I will be your God. And you will know that I am Jehovah your God, who brought you out from under the burdens of Egypt. I tell you that a new day will come, a day of freedom. The Lord has heard our lament, but they did not listen, distressed by the harsh bondage. Hope seemed crushed, but God was not finished. Jehovah spoke again to Moses. Go in and speak to Pharaoh, king of Egypt, that he may let the children of Israel go out of his land. Moses responded with humility and fear. Behold, the children of Israel do not listen to me. How then will Pharaoh listen to me? I am slow of speech. But Jehovah did not withdraw his calling. He commanded Moses and Aaron to carry out the mission and bring Israel out of Egypt. Jehovah spoke to Moses with authority. Look, I have made you as God to Pharaoh, and your brother Aaron shall be your prophet. You shall say everything I command you, and Aaron will speak to Pharaoh, so that he lets the children of Israel go out of his land. But God also warned, I will harden Pharaoh's heart, and I will multiply my signs and wonders in the land of Egypt. And the Egyptians will know that I am Jehovah when I stretch out my hand over Egypt and bring my people out from among them. Moses was 80 years old and Aaron was 83 when they went before the king. When Pharaoh asked them for a sign, Aaron threw down his staff before him and his servants, and the staff turned into a serpent. But the magicians of Egypt did the same with their magic arts. They threw down their staffs, and they also became serpents. However, Aaron's staff swallowed theirs, showing that God's power surpassed the magic of men. Even so, Pharaoh's heart was hardened, and he did not listen. Is that all? My magicians can do the same. Your sign is no different from ours. Now get out of here. The king mocked the sign. Yes, he hardened his heart. But the power of God will be greater than that of the magicians. Then the Lord sent Moses to the bank of the Nile, where the king was accustomed to appear. The God of the Hebrews says, Let my people go so that they may serve me in the wilderness. But until now you have refused to listen. Thus says the Lord, By this you will know that I am the Lord. Behold, I will strike the waters of the river with the staff that is in my hand, and they will turn to blood. Moses raised the staff and struck the waters. The Nile turned red like blood. The Nile is red. Oh no, dead fish floating. I can't breathe, what a stench. So the Egyptians could not drink from it. It keeps coming out red. The stench spread throughout the land. The magicians of Egypt, with their enchantments, did the same thing in appearance. That is why Pharaoh hardened his heart and did not listen to Moses or Aaron. He turned away and went into his house as if nothing had happened. 7 days passed after the Lord struck the river. The water of life in Egypt had turned to death, and the first judgment had fallen upon the land of Pharaoh. The Lord spoke to Moses, Go to Pharaoh and say to him, This is what the Lord says, Let my people go so that they may serve me. But if you refuse, I will plague your entire territory with frogs. Frogs, let them come. I will not let the Hebrews go. Get out of my sight. Aaron stretched out his hand over the waters, and millions of frogs came out of the rivers, ponds, and ditches. They invaded the houses, the beds, the kitchens, even the ovens. The most powerful empire in the world was humbled by creatures that normally went unnoticed. Enough already. Get these frogs out of my sight. The magicians of Egypt also made frogs appear, but they could not get rid of them. Desperate Pharaoh called for Moses and Aaron. "Pray to the Lord to remove the frogs from me and my people, and I will let the people go so they may offer sacrifices." Moses prayed, and the frogs died in heaps that corrupted the land with their stench. But when Pharaoh saw the relief, he hardened his heart and became unyielding. His heart again.
I will absolutely never let the people of Israel go at any cost.
Then the Lord said, "Tell Aaron to stretch out his staff and strike the dust of the earth." Aaron did so, and the dust turned into lice that infested both people and animals. The magicians tried to do the same, but they could not, and they said to Pharaoh,
"This is the finger of God."
Even so the king's heart remained hardened. Then the Lord sent a new warning. If he did not let his people go, a plague of flies would descend upon Egypt. Moses spoke with authority, and the next day, swarms of flies invaded the houses, the palaces, and the entire land. The air buzzed with insects. Daily life became unbearable. But in the land of Goshen, where Israel lived, there were no flies. It was a clear sign. The Lord made a distinction between his people and the Egyptians. Pharaoh summoned Moses and Aaron.
"Moses, Aaron, plead with your God to remove these flies from me and my people."
"Offer sacrifices to your God within the land." Moses replied, "It wouldn't be right to do so, because what is a sacrifice to the Lord for us is an abomination to the Egyptians. We must go a 3-day journey into the wilderness." Pharaoh half relented. "I will let you go, as long as you do not go very far. Pray for me." Moses prayed, and the Lord removed the flies. But once again Pharaoh's heart was hardened, and he did not keep his word. The pride of the king of Egypt continued to defy the God of heaven, and the land began to feel the weight of increasingly severe judgments. The Lord spoke to Moses, "Go to Pharaoh and say to him, 'The Lord, the God of the Hebrews, says, let my people go so that they may serve me. If you refuse, the hand of the Lord will bring a plague upon your livestock, horses, donkeys, camels, cattle, and sheep.'"
Your words have no power over me, no matter what you say. The Hebrews will remain my servants.
The next day, the plague struck the herds of Egypt. The fields were filled with the carcasses of animals, but in Goshen, where Israel lived, not a single beast died. Pharaoh saw the difference, yet he still hardened his heart. Then the Lord said to Moses and Aaron, "Take handfuls of soot from a furnace, and let Moses scatter it toward the sky in the presence of Pharaoh." Moses did so, and the soot turned into dust that caused boils and sores on both people and animals. The magicians of Egypt, ashamed, could not stand before Moses, for they themselves were covered in sores. But even then Pharaoh's heart did not yield. The Lord spoke again. "Rise early in the morning and say to Pharaoh, 'This is what the Lord, the God of the Hebrews, says. Let my people go so that they may serve me. For this time I will send all my plagues against your heart upon your officials and your people, so that you may know that there is no one like me in all the earth.'"
The Lord warns, "I will send hail such as has never fallen in Egypt before."
Some of Pharaoh's servants feared the word of the Lord and brought their servants and livestock indoors. But those who paid no attention left everything out in the field. Moses stretched out his staff, and the Lord sent thunder, lightning, and hail mixed with fire. The sky split open with a deafening roar, and the land of Egypt was struck. The people, animals, and trees that were in the field were destroyed. Only in Goshen did no hail fall. Terrified, Pharaoh sent for Moses and Aaron.
"I have sinned this time. The Lord is righteous, and I and my people are wicked.
Pray to the Lord to stop the thunder and hail, and I will let you go." Moses raised his hands to the Lord, and the storm stopped. The sky cleared and the rain ceased. But when he saw the relief, Pharaoh hardened his heart again and did not let the children of Israel go. Thus, Egypt came to know that the God of the Hebrews had power over nature itself, while the king's heart continued to defy the Most High. The Lord spoke to Moses, "Go into the presence of Pharaoh, for I have hardened his heart and the hearts of his servants, so that I may show my signs among them, and so that you may tell your children and grandchildren how I exalted myself in Egypt, and you will know that I am the Lord." Moses and Aaron appeared before the king. "Thus says the Lord, the God of the Hebrews, let my people go, so that they may serve me. If you still refuse, tomorrow I will bring locusts into your territory. They will cover the face of the land and devour everything that the hail has left." Pharaoh's servants pleaded with him, "How long will this man be a source of ruin for us? Let the men go so that they may serve the Lord, their God. Do you still not understand that Egypt is destroyed?" Pharaoh summoned Moses and Aaron. "Go and serve the Lord your God. Who are the ones that will go?" Moses replied, "We will go with our young and our old, with our sons and daughters, with our sheep and cattle. We will all go, for it is a festival to the Lord." But Pharaoh hardened replied, "It will not be so. Only the men may go and serve the Lord, for that is what you requested." And he drove them out from his presence. Then Moses stretched out his staff, and the Lord brought an east wind that blew all that day and all that night. By morning, the wind had brought the locusts. They covered the entire land of Egypt, darkened the ground, and devoured all the greenery in the fields and whatever was left on the trees after the hail. Never before had there been a plague like this. Desperate, Pharaoh quickly summoned Moses and Aaron. "I have sinned against the Lord your God and against you. Forgive me just this once and pray to the Lord your God to remove this deadly plague from me." Moses prayed, and the Lord sent a strong west wind that carried the locusts away and threw them into the Red Sea. Not a single one remained in Egypt. But Pharaoh hardened his heart again. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Stretch out your hand toward the sky so that darkness will come over the land of Egypt, a darkness so thick it can be felt." Moses stretched out his hand, and dense darkness covered Egypt for 3 days. No one got up from their place or saw one another, but all the children of Israel had light in their dwellings. Pharaoh, humbled, called for Moses, "Go serve your God. Only let your sheep and cattle remain here. Let your families go with you as well." Moses replied, "You must also provide us with sacrifices and burnt offerings. We will go with our livestock. Not a hoof will be left behind, for we must take some of them to serve the Lord our God." Pharaoh's anger was kindled. "Get away from me. Be careful not to see my face again, for on the day you see my face, you will die." Moses replied firmly, "You have spoken well. I will never see your face again." The confrontation had reached its highest point. Egypt was devastated, and the last and most terrible plague was approaching. The Lord spoke to Moses in a solemn voice. "One more plague I will bring upon Pharaoh and upon Egypt. After that, he will let you go from here, and when he does, he will surely drive you out completely." God instructed the people. Every man was to ask his neighbor, and every woman her neighbor for articles of silver and gold. The Lord gave the Hebrews favor in the eyes of the Egyptians, and in those days Moses was considered a great man throughout the land of Egypt, in the eyes of Pharaoh's servants and the people. Moses appeared before the king and declared firmly, "Thus says the Lord, at midnight I will pass through the midst of Egypt, and every firstborn in the land will die, from the firstborn of Pharaoh who sits on his throne to the firstborn of the servant girl behind the mill, and every firstborn of the animals. There will be a great outcry throughout all the land of Egypt, such as there has never been before, nor ever will be again. But among all the children of Israel, not even a dog will bark at man or animal, so that you may know that the Lord makes a distinction between the Egyptians and the Israelites. And all your servants will come down to me, and bowing before me they will say, 'Leave, you and all the people who follow you.' And after this I will go out. Beware of seeing my face, for the day you do, it will be your last." Moses left Pharaoh's presence burning with anger. The Lord had said to Moses, "Pharaoh will not listen to you, so that my wonders may be multiplied in Egypt. Get out of here." The sentence had been pronounced. The king's resistance had reached its limit. The night of judgment was approaching, and with it, the final deliverance of God's people. The Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt. "This month shall be the beginning of months for you. It will be the first month of the year for you. Each family was to take a 1-year-old lamb without blemish and keep it until the 14th day. At dusk, they would slaughter it and sprinkle its blood on the doorposts and lintel of the houses where they ate it. That night, they would roast it over the fire and eat it with unleavened bread and bitter herbs, with their belts fastened, sandals on their feet, and staff in hand, ready to depart. The Lord declared solemnly, I will pass through the land of Egypt that night, and strike down every firstborn, both man and beast. And I will execute judgment on all the gods of Egypt. But the blood will be a sign for you on the houses. I will see the blood and pass over you, and there will be no plague of death among you. Thus the Passover was instituted, a perpetual memorial for Israel. Night fell. The people obeyed, each family with its lamb, the blood on the doorposts, the unleavened bread, the lamps burning, the expectant silence. At midnight the Lord passed through Egypt, and every firstborn died, from the heir to Pharaoh's throne to the son of the prisoner in the dungeon, and even the firstborn of the livestock. A heart-wrenching cry filled the nation. There had never been such mourning. Every Egyptian household was touched by death. Then Pharaoh, broken, summoned Moses and Aaron in the middle of the night. Get up, leave from among my people, you and the children of Israel. Go serve the Lord as you have said. Take your sheep and your cattle as well, and bless me also. The Egyptians urged the people to leave quickly, saying, We are all as good as dead. The Hebrews departed in haste with the unleavened dough on their shoulders, wrapped in their cloaks. The Egyptians defeated gave them gold, silver, and clothing. And so Israel left enriched after centuries of slavery. That night, about 600,000 people on foot, not counting children, left Egypt. Also, a great multitude of all kinds of people and many livestock. The Lord brought them out with a mighty hand, just as he had promised Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The Passover became a perpetual sign of redemption. The people were delivered not by their own strength, but by the blood of the Lamb, a symbol of the eternal sacrifice. The Lord spoke to Moses, Sanctify to me every firstborn, whatever opens the womb among the children of Israel, both of man and of animal. It is mine. Moses said to the people, Remember this day in which you came out of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. For with a mighty hand the Lord has brought you out. You shall not eat leavened bread. For 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread, and on the 7th day there shall be a solemn feast to the Lord. The parents were to teach their children the meaning of this ordinance. This is done because of what the Lord did for me when he brought me out of Egypt. The Passover and the unleavened bread would be a living memorial, a perpetual reminder of the deliverance. The Lord also reaffirmed every firstborn male would be consecrated to him. In this way Israel would learn that redemption comes at a price, and that the whole people belong to the Lord. When they left Egypt, God did not lead them by way of the land of the Philistines, even though it was shorter, because he said, So that the people do not change their minds when they see war and return to Egypt. Instead, he led them by way of the wilderness toward the Red Sea. Moses took the bones of Joseph with him, for Joseph had made the sons of Israel swear, saying, God will surely visit you, and you shall carry my bones away from here with you. And they set out from Succoth and camped at Etham, at the edge of the wilderness. The Lord went before them, by day in a pillar of cloud to guide them on their way, and by night in a pillar of fire to give them light, so that they could travel by day and by night. The pillar of cloud by day and the pillar of fire by night never left its place in front of the people. It was the visible sign that God himself was leading them. The people did not march alone. The God who brought them out with a mighty hand was guiding them toward freedom. The Lord spoke to Moses, Tell the children of Israel to turn back and camp by the sea in front of Pi-Hahiroth, between Migdol and Baal-Zephon. There you will camp by the sea. God had planned that strategic location. Pharaoh would think that Israel was trapped in the desert and would go after them, but it would be an opportunity for Egypt to know that the Lord is God. When the king was told that the people had fled, Pharaoh and his officials changed their attitude toward Israel. What have we done? We have let Israel go, and now they will no longer serve us. Pharaoh readied his chariot, took 600 of the best chariots and all the chariots of Egypt with captains, and set out with his army. The greatest military power on earth launched a pursuit against newly freed slaves. The children of Israel looked up, and behold, the Egyptians were coming after them. The sea was in front, the desert on either side, and the enemy army behind them. The people were greatly afraid and cried out to the Lord. But in their desperation they reproached Moses. "Was there not enough graves in Egypt that you brought us out to die in the desert? It would have been better for us to serve the Egyptians than to die here." Moses replied with a firm voice, "Do not be afraid. Stand firm and see the salvation that the Lord will accomplish for you today. For the Egyptians whom you see now, you will never see again forever. The Lord will fight for you, and you shall remain at peace." Then the Lord said to Moses, "Why do you cry out to me? Tell the children of Israel to move forward, and you lift up your staff. Stretch out your hand over the sea and divide it, so that the children of Israel may go through the midst of the sea on dry ground." The pillar of cloud that had gone before Israel moved behind them, placing itself between the camp of the Egyptians and that of Israel. For some it was darkness, and for others it was light by night. Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and the Lord caused a strong east wind to blow all that night, driving the sea back and turning it into dry land. The waters were divided, forming walls on the right and on the left, and the children of Israel crossed through the midst of the sea on dry ground. The Egyptians pursued them with horses, chariots, and horsemen, entering after them into the midst of the sea. But the Lord looked down from the pillar of fire and cloud and threw the Egyptian army into panic. He jammed the wheels of their chariots, making them move with difficulty.
Let us flee from Israel, for the Lord is fighting for them against Egypt.
The Lord said to Moses, "Stretch out your hand over the sea so that the waters may flow back over the Egyptians." Moses did so, and at daybreak the sea returned to its full strength. The chariots and horsemen were covered. None of the pursuers survived. Israel saw the Egyptians dead on the seashore. That day, the Lord saved Israel from the hands of Egypt. The people feared the Lord and believed in him and in his servant Moses. Thus, on that day, the Lord showed his power and delivered his people with a mighty hand. But this story doesn't end here. What comes next will further shape the destiny of Israel in the wilderness. Do you want to find out? Subscribe right now so you don't miss the next chapter. Like this video if this message touched your heart, and share it so that more people can know the power and faithfulness of God.
The Lord will truly fight on your behalf for you, and you will indeed remain at peace.